Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the new Louis Vuitton Speedy Nano for 2022. I'm going to be talking about its specs, its pricing, its difference in comparison to the old Speedy Nano, and I'm also going to be talking about if it's something I think is worth getting in 2022 and if I regret getting the old Speedy Nano. So if that's something that you're interested in, then stay tuned for the rest of the video. But first things first, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If these are the kinds of videos that you like watching, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to connect with me on my socials, it's at TrishDLF. So the new Monogram Speedy Nano just came out in January 28 and everyone is talking about it. It's currently a big thing in the Louis Vuitton community because finally they came out with a Speedy Nano with a detachable strap. So right now I have this old Speedy Nano as eye candy for you guys. I just got this little bag last year and it's still the old design with the straps that are undetachable as so I just stuck it in usually, especially when I store it. This is generally how I store this bag. So I'll just put it aside here first as eye candy while I talk about the new Speedy Nano. So I'm doing this video because I just got the old Speedy Nano last year and I'm trying to assess if this is a purchase that I regret now that the new Speedy Nano with the detachable straps is out. So let's talk about the new Speedy Nano first. The first feature that it definitely has is that it already has the detachable straps that everyone has been looking for and praying for. For the longest time, the old Speedy Nano had straps that were undetachable, and that's really been one of the main gripes of the Louis Vuitton collectors, is that everything would have been perfect already had they just added a detachable strap instead of this fixed strap over here. I think it's been like for at least 5 years, correct me if I'm wrong, or more than 5 years. I don't know how long the Speedy Nano, I mean at least for this design. I'm not sure how long it's been in production, I'll just put it down below. But I think at least for 5 years, this has been the design of the Speedy Nano. So that's the main complaint of most people, is that everything would have already been perfect had it just had a detachable strap. Like with regard to the sizing, the style, the wearability of it. Everyone, like if you even watch the reviews on here, they all just say that they just wish it could have a detachable strap. And finally, the new Speedy Nano for 2022 has a detachable strap. So that's point number one about it. The detachable strap is a little thicker than the old one over here, and it looks very substantial as well. They use the same clasp mechanism for that strap with most of their other bag designs. So I think I have the Louis Vuitton strap over here for the bandolier, and it's more or less the same clasp that they use for the Speedy Nano. It's very substantial and you can really see the quality. Next big change that they have with this bag is the sizing. So that's the next most obvious difference, and I feel like this difference is pretty significant in comparison to the old one. So I'm just going to be bringing out my measuring tape over here and I'm going to show you more or less how it stands in comparison to the old Speedy Nano. So I actually got the dimensions of the new Speedy Nano from another YouTuber. I think she did an unboxing of the actual Speedy Nano because I think the ones that were circulating online weren't really accurate. So I made sure to look at an actual unboxing of the actual bag so I could give you an accurate representation of the measurements. So for the measurements of the new Speedy Nano, it's basically 16 cm for the length of the base, which is more or less the same as the length of the old Speedy Nano. It's about 10 cm for the height, and for the depth, it's about 7 cm. So, in comparison, I will show you this, my trusty measuring tape over here. So basically, for the measurements, it's at 16 cm for the length. So it's more or less the same length as the old version. But the difference is in height and in width, which means that you can put less in it. So for the height, it's at 10 cm. So if we put it over here, 10 cm would be at here, 10. So this is 10. Do you see that? This is how tall 10 cm is. So that's quite a big difference. If I put it to the side, 10 cm will only go until, it'll probably go until the middle of the leather tab over here. So this is 10 cm. This is the height of the bag. basically. And for the biggest difference, it's that the depth of the bag is only at 7. So if we put it here, it's only up to 7 centimeters. So it only goes up to this area over here. So that's quite a big difference, I feel like, especially since this bag, the canvas stretches out a lot, so it really can accommodate much, but reducing it to that kind of size, like the height, then from this height to only just here, I feel like that's a really significant difference. So in terms of dimensions, it's definitely much smaller than this bag, but it's a mini bag, so honestly, like, what do you expect, right? For the next difference, it would be the pull tabs for me. Currently, you can see the old Speedy Nano. The leather tabs over here where the handles attached are quite small. And I think that if you compare the proportions of this bag to the actual Speedy Nano, like the regular size Speedy Nano, this has the best proportions. Like if you actually scale the proportions down of a regular size Speedy bag down to a nano, this would be the most accurate or the closest to that proportion of the regular sized one. With the new Speedy Nano, you would notice that the leather tabs over here are actually a little bigger than these ones. So these ones, you can really, it really gives the nano look, the nano vibe, because even the leather tabs are tiny. Whereas the new Speedy Nano has bigger leather tabs over here, so although I feel like it's still in the correct proportion, it just gives it like a different look compared to this one. And then for the final difference, it is the zipper pull of the bag. So I'll just remove the strap again to show you guys the zipper pull. So as you can see, the zipper pull of this bag is actually a regular metal zipper. As so, it's just the gold metal zipper, and the other regular size Speedies also use this type of zipper pull. However, if you look at the new Speedy Nano, it actually uses the leather pull tab. So if you're familiar with the Speedy Mini HL, this was a vintage design of Louis Vuitton. It's more or less similar to that design because the zipper pull tab of the vintage Mini HL is also leather. However, that's one thing that I really noticed about it because, as they say, why fix something that isn't broken? I think that this zipper pull is definitely way better than a leather zipper pull because if you can see the vintage Mini HLs from the past, those that are in the pre-loved market, a lot of the ones with the leather zipper pull, with time, the leather pull definitely deteriorates, and it's something that you have to get repaired at Louis Vuitton. So if that's something that concerns you, you may have to think twice about it. Because yeah, you're going to be using the zipper a lot, and it's either you have to be really careful about it or just don't use it too much so it won't deteriorate too quickly. Now I'm going to be talking about other things that some people actually haven't really talked about yet with regard to the new Speedy Nano. So these are things that aren't really obvious in pictures, and these are some things that you have to really have the actual item to be able to discuss and impart with other people. So another thing that some of the unboxings have mentioned is that the canvas is thicker than the old one. I think they're really rolling out a new canvas already because even my friend said that he bought a new mini pochette and it's already thicker than the old mini pochette canvas. So I guess that's the new canvas of Louis Vuitton. But yeah, basically I think they started with a Speedy 20 size. A lot of reviews on the Speedy 20 have already mentioned that the canvas is definitely thicker and it's more stiff. That's why a lot of people actually couldn't like squish it like this. And some feedback about the Speedy 20 was that it doesn't really like mold to their body because the canvas is already a little stiffer, so because it's thicker. So that's definitely one thing. The canvas of the new Speedy is already thicker and most probably more durable and better quality than this one that we currently have. So as you can see, it's very soft. It can go as low as this. See? Like very squishy soft. That's the old canvas, but the new Speedy Nano uses the new canvas already, so that's something to take note. It'll probably last longer. And also the final thing is that the leather straps or the vachetta leather is already pre-treated, so I think you'll have to worry less about it getting watermarks because it's not gonna come as white when it's brand new, so you don't really have to go through that process anymore of like tanning the leather and everything because it's already pre-treated. Now we go on to the pricing. The new Speedy Nano is at $1,560 US, while the old version is at $1,320 US. However, I believe that the new Speedy Nano isn't on the Louis Vuitton website yet because there's the apparently waiting list for it, and you know how it goes. So right now I believe they're still catching up on the pre-orders, so it's not really listed on the website yet. Okay, now I'm going to be talking about if I think that this new Speedy Nano is worth it at its current price of $1,560 US. Honestly, I thought that it was gonna be more expensive than $1,560 because the denim Speedy Nano actually came out before the monogram version, and the denim one was, I think, like $1,750 US, more or less. I'll just put it down below for the exact. But yeah, that was quite expensive for a nano bag because they had the same size. So I was assuming that they would more or less be in that price range, which was quite expensive. But the actual release price for the monogram version is just at $1,560. So I was quite relieved that it wasn't as expensive as the denim version. If you convert the $1,560 US, that's about like 78,000 pesos here in the Philippines. And okay, it's quite expensive, but for the nano bag, maybe. Yeah, I'm still iffy about it because this one was at 66,500, and I think I could justify that because it's not too expensive yet, and it's I mean, it could fit a lot. I'll put up my what fits in my bag video somewhere over here, and it fits a lot. I use this to travel, and it actually fit like my mini pochette and even with my passport inside, and this all I brought when I was traveling. I feel like the amount that I paid for this is okay. Like, okay, it's still expensive, it's still a lot of money, and what you know, people in the luxury community talk about that like it's nothing, but if you're an average person who doesn't really know anything about bags, that amount is kind of steep for a really tiny bag, like, admit it. But I feel like that's the maximum that I would go for this type of bag. But if you compare it to the new Speedy Nano at $1,560 US, the price difference isn't actually that big anymore from the old one. So if you don't have the old Speedy Nano yet, I don't think the new one is priced way too far from the old one for it to hinder you from getting it. Do you know what I mean? But if you already have the old one, then you can appreciate the old one more, and you can actually appreciate how much you got it for more. So I think that for $1,560 US, if you don't have the old Speedy Nano yet, and you have been waiting for a Speedy Nano with a detachable strap, or in general you just want a Speedy Nano period, then at $1,560, yeah, go for it. But I definitely wouldn't pay like reseller price for it because you know how resellers are, they really mark things up. So I would recommend getting it retail, not any more than that. So for me, like $1,560, that's the max that I would go for that bag, and not any more than that. So yes, I think worth it, but only if you don't have it yet. And also if the pros and cons that I mentioned earlier wouldn't really be a bother to you. Like, number one, how it's a little smaller. I feel like, you know, for mini bags, you really don't have a choice. You buy it for its aesthetic, and you can't complain that it's too small because that's what you're buying into. Like, you bought into the concept. That's what you're buying basically. So you can't really complain that it's small. And then number two is if the pull tab is okay with you. I mentioned earlier that the pull tab was a leather pull tab, and as you can see from past mini HLs, the pull tab tends to deteriorate. So if that's something that you're okay with, if you're okay to buy a bag that will eventually deteriorate on that part, although it's replaceable, so it's only going to happen if you really like manhandle the bag, right? But eventually it might happen like maybe 50 years down the line. If you're planning to keep it for 50 years, then that's another thing to consider. Very, very small cons, I feel like, but the quality of the new Speedy Nano is definitely superior already versus the older one I mentioned earlier. The canvas is thicker, it's pre-treated leather for the handles and the straps, and also the straps are detachable, so what more could you ask for? I feel like the Speedy Nano would be best for more petite girls, or those who just really couldn't use the old strap of the old Speedy Nano, because I know especially for like girls who are probably 5'1" and below, it's definitely more difficult for them to wear this. I am 5'5", so wearing this was a breeze and it never bothered me. However, I know a lot of the more petite girls have always had a gripe with the old Speedy Nano because they couldn't really wear it. So if you're more on the petite side, it's something that you would definitely be able to enjoy because now the straps are detachable. And also because the size is more of the vintage mini HL now, I feel like that size would really suit more petite girls. The old one might look a little bigger with petite girls versus the one that's available now. So I feel like the market of the new Speedy Nano is definitely more towards the petite side because they're the ones who would really be able to appreciate this detachable strap. Now, finally, do I regret getting the old Speedy Nano? Because I just got this last year and then a year later and they already have a new version and a new design of it. Now, I really thought about it because when I heard rumors like late last year that a new Speedy Nano was coming out, I was like, oh my god, I just bought the old one and then now there's a new design. Like, I felt like my money was going to waste because there's a new design, and now the straps are even detachable, and that's what everyone's been asking for the straps to be detachable. But now, seeing more unboxing videos and seeing more comparison videos of the old versus the new Speedy Nano, I don't really feel bad about it anymore because I realized that I don't think I would be able to use the new one as much as I did with this old one because this definitely fits so much more. I also really love the proportion of this. Basically, the size is just like great for my everyday use. Like, personally, this is already a great sized bag for me, and I feel like I'd already have a difficult time with something smaller than this. Also, the straps don't really bother me. I mean, everyone loves a detachable strap, but because I mentioned my height earlier, it already fits this bag and the strap well. I don't really need it to be detachable anymore. So again, as I mentioned, the detachable strap would be really good for more petite girls. So because I'm more of an average height, it doesn't really bother me to want the new one more. And finally, the pricing. This already a good price for this size. It's at $1,320 US, so I feel like that's just the exact price more or less for this bag. Though it's not far from the new pricing, I feel like what I paid is already enough for this. So for the money I spent, I'm already happy with what I got. And yeah, I really think it's a cute bag and I've used it a ton already. So for me, as much as there's a new Speedy Nano available, I'm already so happy with this one. I actually haven't done a review on this one yet, so maybe sometime in the future. So there, those were my thoughts on the new Speedy Nano for 2022. I think it's still worth it if you don't have the Speedy Nano yet, especially with the quality of it. I feel like it's more of a collector's item because the quality seems better made rather than the old Speedy. I hear that the quality is really getting better, especially with a thicker canvas. However, if you already have the old Speedy Nano, I don't think that you should make the switch to the newer version because of the pros that I mentioned earlier. Maybe only if you're really petite and the old Speedy Nano isn't working for you with regard to like the shoulder strap. So that's the only time that I would consider switching from the old Speedy Nano to the new one. Also, the price of this is really good versus the new one, so why switch, right? So there, I think my overall conclusion is only get it if you don't have it yet. And if you don't have it yet, I still think that it's a great buy because of the quality and the overall concept of it. Because after all, it's a Speedy Nano and it's still a great looking bag. So there, those were my 2 cents on the bag. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button down below. And if you want to connect with me on my socials, it's at TrishDLF. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate it if you could, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!